Welcome, budding scientists. Today we start with a new unit of Human Eye and the Colorful World. This human eye that actually works like a camera. The light coming from the object enters our eye and forms a real image at the back of the eye, that is the retina, which works like the photographic film in a camera. And our amazing vision, due to this vision, we perceive the world in different ways in its colorful context. First, we will study the structure of human eye. Human eye is actually a sphere the size of a table tennis ball. The diameter is about 2.3 to 2.5 centimeters. The spherical portion, the white portion, that when we are talking to somebody, we see the black portion and the white portion on both the sides. That white portion is known as sclera. Above the sclera, there is a transparent membrane, with a slight bulge in it. It is known as the cornea. Beneath the cornea, a very small amount of a colorless fluid is filled. That fluid is known as aqueous humor. Don't worry, those are the Latin names, but you will have to memorize those names. If we go further, we come across a diaphragm, a curtain type of thing, that is called iris. Iris is circular. You've seen an umbrella, it is circular, and in place of the point, we assume that there is a hole. So if the membrane of the umbrella contracts, the hole becomes bigger, and if that membrane expands, the hole becomes smaller. In the same way, the iris works. There is a small hole in the center of the iris, which is known as pupil. Iris, pupil. Iris and pupil work together to control the amount of light entering the eye. If the light is bright, then too much light, if it enters the eye, it may damage the internal portions of the eye. So the iris expands and the pupil becomes very small. So less amount of light enters the eye. But when the surroundings are semi-dark, then the amount of light should be increased so that we are able to see the objects clearly. In that case, the iris contracts and the size of the pupil becomes bigger. So more light enters the eye and we are able to see the objects around us clearly. For example, just imagine when we are going to watch a movie at about 12 o'clock, then outside the theater, the light is bright, but when the show ends and the next show begins, when we enter the theater, we are not able to see where is the seat, where is the path, who's sitting where. But in that case, if we close our eyes and count up to 30, then when we open the eyes, we can see quite clearly, like here is the seat, here someone is sitting, here's the path, and that's my seat number. Why? Because it takes a few seconds for the iris to contract and the pupil to become large. So more amount of light enters the eye and we are able to see through the diffused or dim light. That's the role of the iris. Now, if we go further, we come across a convex lens. This is called the crystalline lens or the eye lens. The eye lens is actually made of a gelatinous substance. And unlike the normal lenses, this lens is quite different. It can change its shape. How? Because this lens is flexible around the border around the outer edges and slightly inflexible or rigid in the middle portion. And that lens is held in its place by a circular band of muscles known as ciliary muscles or the ciliary body. Just like a tire grips the rim, in the same way, these ciliary bodies grip the lens and hold it in its proper place. Now, how does the shape of the lens change? The ciliary muscles, when they tighten, when they become stout, they compress the lens from all the sides. And due to this, the lens becomes thicker in the middle. In this way, the focal length or the effective radius of curvature or the curvature of the lens, simply the curvature of the lens is increased. And when these muscles relax, the lens becomes thinner and the radius of curvature becomes large, or we can say the curvature of the lens has decreased. Means it is now less curved. This is how the shape of the lens changes. Even further, there is vitreous humor. It's a transparent jelly-like substance which makes the shape of the eye constant. The shape of the eye becomes spherical due to this. And at the back, this yellow portion, that's the retina, where the image is formed, which plays the role of a photographic film in a normal camera. This retina is the place where the actual image formation takes place. Now, just in front of the pupil and lens, there is a spot on the retina where the light sensitive cells are highly concentrated, so that the image at this portion is the sharpest image. If the image is formed anywhere apart from this macula, the image is not very sharp, but when the image is formed at the macula, it is the sharpest. Just observe, you are looking at everything and the object just in front of your eyes, that you are able to see very clearly, very sharply, but the objects around in the peripheral vision, they are not so sharp. But if you want to change your focus to another one, you look at that point and that becomes sharp, and now this object will become slightly blurred because first its image was being formed on the macula, and when we are looking sideways, now its image is formed on other portions rather than macula. Therefore, it is now blurred. So, for the sharpest image formation, if we want to see something very clearly, we place it just in front of our eyes so that the image forms on the macula and we are able to see every fine detail in that object. Now, the light sensitive cells in the retina change the visual signals to electrical signals, and those electrical signals are transferred to the vision center of our brain through optic nerve. This optic nerve takes the visual signals of the image formed to the vision center inside our brain, where the brain interprets those signals and forms an image, inverts it, and we are able to see an upright image. That concludes the part 1 of the human eye and the colorful world. See you in second part.